heck. Oh, okay, I see it. Yep, we're live. Okay, cool. Welcome. Sorry, I'm trying to get my tripod where it's supposed to be. It's a little finicky. The ground isn't exactly level. So hopefully this works out pretty good. We'll see here. Try to get this fire stoked up. Yeah, this should get going here in a sec. Make sure the image looks good. I'm gonna move this a little bit. There we go. Can you guys hear all right? Oh, I don't even see the chat. Oh, now I can see it. Thank you. Just trying to get everything set up so it's actually enjoyable for you guys. That should do it right there. Let's see. There we go. I think that looks all right. All right. Can you hear the fire all right? Sound good? All right. I'll be right settling in here in a sec. I'm just making sure this ain't gonna tip over. The ground is a little spongy. We've had a lot of rain. There we go. Good. I'm glad you guys can hear it real well. Let's see. Does it look better from higher? It kind of does. I'll get that turned up higher then. I thought I had this all set up pretty good, and then I had some issues last second, so there we go. That's better. Now the fire should really be picking up. Alright, and just let me grab my phone so I can monitor you guys and everything, like check in. Alright. Been a wonderful day, absolutely beautiful, beautiful weather. You do not get days like this very often in this time of year. So, very much enjoying it. Here, let me just, oops. And then turn on the clear. Okay, where is it? Hang on, guys. I'm trying to turn on the Wi-Fi, but it's being a little bit of a pain. Oh, there it goes. There we go. Whoops. And do it. There we go. All right. Should be able to hear that fire nice and good now. Alright, let's see. Now I should be able to log in and see the chat from my chair. So, I'll go ahead and get this fire all the way up. There's no reason for it to be low. Get it nice and bright. Let's see here. Says it's working. Just trying to. Alright, should be good. Just double check. Sorry, for some reason this connection's being a little weird for the moment. Can you guys see it's not glitching out or anything? See here. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah. For some reason, my other phone, which is supposed to be monitoring everything, is giving me a hard time. I'm not sure what the deal is. It was working fine earlier. Well, anyways, I'm out here tonight. I'm at another location. This is an area that has had activity. Chris and I found a track up here. What we think was a track last spring. So it was pretty cool to find that. Try this. Okay, cool. I think I got it working. Alright, now I can sit down. Let's see here. Okay, the fire looks good. Now I can see the feed, but I can't see the chat for some reason for a second here. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna log back out, log back in. It was working so good. Okay, I'm in. Okay, so catch up. Where are you guys at? Yeah, I've done about 10 miles today. First thing this morning, I got up. I didn't hear anything last night. I did about 4.5 miles this morning, crawled way down in the drainage to try to get close to where, like I said last night, where this younger guy saw something on 2 legs take off. And I checked all that area out, ran into a lot of bear sign, a lot of bear down in there. And it was pretty thick, a lot of good deer and elk. Walked across 2 different marshes, and It was good hike, so I got pretty tired. Came back out to my vehicle after finding where some bears had clawed up everything, stripped some trees, and then I drove around because I couldn't quite get access to the exact spot where he had the visual. So I drove out, down and around back into the edge of town, and then back around on the other side, and I got access on that other side. And I hiked another 4.5 miles up from the backside and all over the place. And found some beautiful, beautiful area up high, good views in the mountains and everything. And hiked around. I sat around for about an hour up there listening, trying to see if anything was up there. Ran the recorder, brought the handheld thermal. Not much happened. So pretty much a blank day. Not a whole lot. Pretty quiet. And something just hit the ground right here next to me. Yeah, it might have been a stick, but it hit the ground right there. It's crazy. I'm under a couple trees. This is some select cut right here. I'm in another area. I'm up below an area where there's two lakes. One's pretty high, the other's a bit a little lower, and I'm below the switchbacks. I'm not too far from the highway. I'm definitely way off the road, but I can kind of hear the highway, but we're in a good spot. Activity, not much. Bear Marsh, yep, that general area. Welcome all the new people coming into the chat. Chris is here with us. But yeah, and then I came up here and I got out and I hiked about 2 miles. So I've done about 10 miles today. I'm pretty tired. I am worn out and I'm hungry. I'm fresh out of Pringles, so I won't annoy you guys with the sound of Pringles tonight. It's just me out here again. Kirk was gonna meet me tomorrow morning sometime, and he and I are gonna go service all the truths. So, what am I eating tonight? I'm probably just gonna hit a protein bar and a protein shake. I'm probably gonna keep it light. Trying to lose weight with all the extra exercise and crawling around, and stick to some high protein. I'll do all right. Yep, I'm out solo. Just me. It's a good time. Got a little sketchy at one point because I definitely walked up on a bear's hangout. Like, the ground was just completely padded. There was brand new scat everywhere. It was just not a good spot to be. It was, and I kept hearing popping and breaking off in the distance. So it was good that I didn't hang out. I found the bear trails where they were all padded and where they'd scraped up beds and laid down, and I was like, I'm gonna jump on the deer trail. So I hung a left, went uphill, hooked back up to a bunch of skid rows, and made my way down. Oh, cool! Yeah, showing the kids how bigfooting's done across the internet. But yeah, it's been a day. I'm tired, but it's been a good day. Very productive. We're in that weird time of the year where we don't get a lot of reports. Like, right after the end of November through to April, there's not very many reports. Most of the reports we do get from late February into April are vocalizations. And we just don't got a lot of data because people hang out indoors most of the winter, avoiding the rain and the bad weather. So it's tough to get data for this time. So knowing exactly where to hang out and where to be, it's a tough call. So this kind of trip, I'm just out here kind of just playing what odds I got based on what few reports I have in my back pocket here. So we're in a completely different area now. Where I was before was about 12, 13 miles away from where I'm at now. Yeah, no, the Ohio thing. So you have to forgive us. Out here on the West Coast, we're so zeroed in on all the stuff happening out here. We didn't catch any of the Ohio stuff. I know there was I guess a bunch of a string of sightings that happened in Ohio, like back to back to back to back, like 5 or 6. So it's almost like something was moving from one area to another. But I didn't get to read all the specifics on it. But yeah. Oh, fire feels good. I can make it a little brighter yet for those of you who want a big bright fire. We have friends from Texas, and they always want the fire to be 5 times bigger than what is humanly sane. They always want, like, that's not a fire. I'm like, yeah, it is. And they're like, no, it needs to be like 5 times bigger. And they got to bring a whole cord of wood for 3 days. So, pretty wild. Everything's bigger in Texas, folks. Everything. Fires and everything else. Really appreciate to those that donated last night. It really helps out. Like gas today, I probably burned through a third a tank of gas on my truck here, just driving and trying to get up to stuff and check stuff. And then all tomorrow I'm going to be driving like a madman all over the place. We probably have 45 miles of driving to do, just service, and then there's going home later in the evening. I think I was dehydrated. Forgot to drink water most of the day. What's the plan? The plan is I have a handheld thermal imager right here, and I'm going to be able to film it if I can hear something. I've got audio running in the background, and I've got you guys here checking out what's going on. If something approaches the camp during when we're in this, I will obviously power up the thermal, start recording, and try to nonchalantly turn around and walk past my vehicle and try to film out the direction where something's coming from. I'm in a nice little select cut area. We're right up against where the select cut meets older growth stuff and goes up and up and up. And this is a nice little skirted flat spot. And this is where the elk and the deer are feeding at night. And so I set up camp here. There's a stream pinching me in down there, and there's one about a quarter mile up the road that direction. So I'm really hoping that anything coming down runs into me. Or going up runs into me. So ready with the handheld, and then I also have my night vision here on the phone. Man, that fire is just not getting big enough. I'm gonna have to actually pile some wood on here. There we go. That should brighten it up. The teepee? What's wrong with a good teepee fire? I don't get it. Teepee fires are the best. I do brick house method. I've done crisscross method, and I've done teepee fires. I love teepee fires. They get good oxygen flow. You just have to have a good base under them. Yeah, teepees are great. I grew up doing that. You make your bird nest out of your tinder, and then you get your step 2, shy of a quarter of a finger, and then you get your finger size. Pick high resin, or you find some fat wood, and get your flint striker or magnesium fire starter, depending what you want. And get her wide open and going. And then you're burning and burning. I have been involved in Bigfoot research since 2000, and I would tell you 10. I had my sighting in 09. First year I was very freaked out about the idea of going out at all, so it took about a year of getting past that. So since 2010, I would tell you. So it's been 16 years. I've had bear very uncomfortably close. I lived in Idaho for 3 or 4 years, and I got really, really close to grizzly bear a few times, and that is very uncomfortable. That is a situation that sucks. 700-800 pound, 900 pound animal that really doesn't like you around and is not freaked out by you at all. My wife and I were approached once, and then I was approached one-on-one way up in the Selkirks another time, and it bluff charged me. That was sketchy. And then another time I had one up by the border even further north. Yeah, Les Stroud. I grew up on Les Stroud, like Survivor Man and then the Survivor Man Bigfoot stuff coming down the line. But I grew up on Survivor Man. I really have a lot of respect for his ability in the backcountry. He's very, very good at what he does. And he's an excellent survival expert. And he knows how to find... He's much, much better than the typical guy at finding like what edible plants and knowing what to use and the medicinal properties and all that. He's awesome. I'd love to chance to hang out with him. Yeah, grizzlies are no fun. It's not fun. You're always nervous that there's one close because they're so quiet. My wife and I walked up on one way up in a grove of old growth cedars at like 30 feet. Didn't know it was there, but it knew we were there, and it let us approach on the trail. And we were laughing and talking the whole time. The stinking thing just did not care. It was approaching us. Super sketchy. Yeah, black bears are not a problem. Yeah, last night, nothing happened that I'm aware of. It was quiet. It was quiet. But then again, like I said, when I went to bed, I passed out. Saw a lot of evidence of bear and cat the next morning. I'm just recapping this real quick. And I hiked 4.5 miles in the morning to get to the witness's sighting location. Couldn't quite get there. Found a ton of bear and elk sign everywhere and deer sign. And then I ended up backing out and coming back around town and taking another access route in. Checked that side, didn't find anything that time either. Saw some really pretty open views today with all the sun though. No, me and Chris have not yet returned to that location. We're letting that SM4 out there, or sorry, long duration audio recorder soak in there and just keep recording for about 30 to 35 days, and then we're going to return may try to do maybe an overnight or two in there and pick up the recorder or swap cards and then back out again. But we've not been back yet. Yeah, Wes and Grimmer and his brother, whatever I guess they have Sasquatch Chronicles. This is their channel thing. I mean, I don't know. Their show's a little sensational for me. Some of the stories are legit. Some of them seem to be kind of sensationalized, you know. Just a personal opinion. I'm gonna need to drink some caffeine. Man, I am zapped. My legs are sore. I did a lot of down stuff. We've had freak storms the past few weeks, and so everything is just completely down. All the back roads and skid roads are just completely mauled. Trees laying everywhere. So it was hands and knees a lot of the day because I was climbing. I was bushwhacking. I wasn't even on skids most of the time. I would take skids to get in, and then I would pick a ridge and I would just bushwhack all the way up and down. I got whacked quite a bit today. No, it's been pretty quiet. I did see a couple black-tailed deer today up here, which was nice. And seen some bear sign. But no, I've not heard anything yet. The night is real young. It's not even quite blackout yet. It's still kind of getting dark. I've not been to Alaska. I do have plans to get up to Southeast Alaska and do some research up there at some point. I was talking with Alex Pedikov from Small Town Monsters about this. At some point, I'd like to get up there and do some exploring. It's a little cloudy and overcast. I haven't seen anything in the sky or anything like that. I've seen a UFO or what they call a UAP a couple of times in my life. That was truly discernible that it was something very unusual. It wasn't a helicopter or a plane or a drone or a satellite. But it's rare to see something like that. Yeah, Chris is correct. I have a knack for I will see some obscure pond or marsh at the top of some crazy ledge way up high, and I'll be like, "Hey, this is like where Sasquatch would hang out. It's like a castle. It's kind of got a moat. It's kind of got remote jagged cliffs." And Chris just groans when I bring up these ideas. Um, sometimes it pans out though. That's why Chris still does it with me, but yeah, I drag. I'm the mountain goat of the group. I do not care. I will go up anything, anytime. No, hold nothing back. I will go all day up that stuff. I don't care. I love it. But I do feel bad when I run them ragged up and down the hills. They do pretty good. They keep up pretty good and stuff. It's just, you know, it's not casual hiking. Yeah, let me think. I gotta think. So, I'll tell you one just from around this area. So, about 8 miles that way. No, yeah, 7.5 miles that direction. So, to the east of where we're at right now, about the same elevation as we are right now. Myself and Kirk Brandenburg were camped out in a gravel pit, and we did some night driving with thermal handhelds in Kirk's tracker, and we drove around for quite a while at night, and we heard some weird stuff off and on up there. Ran into an elk herd back in there, and so it's a two-part story. We had camp. We were there several nights. Not much happened, but a couple weird things here and there. But middle of the night, me and Kirk were driving back, and I said, let's just pull over and shut the vehicles down. Just black out. No sound, no lights, nothing. And I'll slam my car door. And I did that. And then from the ridge directly above us, it probably wasn't a minute before we got a solid wood knock from way up the slope above us, up some of this nasty, nasty terrain. That was very compelling. And we ended up going back to the area a couple times. One time I went up to the lake above it. I think it would have been the year and a half after that. And I got followed all the way down from that lake. I went up and I started smelling this sulfur, BO, feces, spoiled meat smell. It was all of those. And it's kept coming and going with the breeze. And I'm not sure, while I'm going up, I'm not sure what's causing it. And I've smelled elk, I've smelled bear, I've smelled everything. This was unusual. I actually texted Chris, Kirk, and I think Shane Corson when this happened. But I got to the top of the lake, and I was hanging out when the smell was following me around. And you could tell it was following me because if I'd back down the trail 40, 50 yards, the smell would dissipate. But then I'd go back up to where I was, and there it was. And it'd keep going, and it would follow and get really strong, and then get weak, and then strong again. I found some impressions up there. They were about 16-inch impressions, cutting the switchbacks of the old road to the trail going up. And yeah, my ridge line's behind me back there, and my tent's on my right. But this smell permeated, and then all of a sudden I started hearing branch breaks. And I got up to the top of the lake, and then I heard a wood knock directly from across the lake. And I immediately, because I got a little service up there, I texted Chris and Kirk and them, and I said, hey guys, I'm being followed up here. There is a smell. I'm hearing knocks and branch breaks and stuff. I'm not going to hang out because, I didn't bring all my gear or anything, but there's stuff going on. I'm going to clip back down before I intrude too much, because I had to go home that afternoon, so I just got down. I didn't want to pressure it too much. And Chris and Shane and Todd Hale went back, and they went up there a couple weeks later, I think, and they had an experience up there as well. But that's just local from around here. Yeah, no frogs here. There's no marshes or ponds. That's why I decided to mix it up. I wanted to be able to hear a little bit and see how things go in this area. Let me see here. Solo hiker, I love it. You're not, you stole, your screen name is stealing my personality. Oregon's a great area. I've had experiences in Oregon as well. Yeah, my ridgeline has a little reflective bit on it, so it's kind of throwing light back from the fire. I might try some wood knocks down here tonight. I might. I busted up some firewood, so I already kind of artificially made a bunch of noise, but later tonight, after things settle down, I might try a couple wood knocks down here. I've got some good punky logs here to try. Oh yeah, That'll work. Probably hang on to this guy. That'll be my knocker. I've got a good tree right here too. Scrubs 33. That's really interesting. That's funny. My sighting in '09 was a Sasquatch carrying a dead fawn. So they seem to like deer. Yeah, Chris. Maybe if you weren't food poisoned, you'd be here with me. I've seen one with my naked eye. Twice. Once in daylight at close range. The other time was at night under moonlight. Yeah, we're not farting in the fire. Because we're not 5. Just so you know. I am going to add wood to the fire, though. Try to get this stirred up pretty good. There we go. They're a little bit brighter. It's a nice hot fire tonight. Yeah, we've played music. We've had a couple times where I think music played a hand in drawing stuff in. What was it? It was a couple years ago. I'm trying to think about where. It might have been in to the Hilltop area. Yeah, I played music and then I played podcasts. And I played podcasts about dolphin sounds. Basically, scientists' take on dolphin sounds. So there was like intermixed between this lady and this goofy guy, and then dolphin sounds, and then there was music mixed in the middle. So I played all that, and I would play the podcast, let it run for 20, 25 minutes. It was like a 2-hour one. And then I would pause it. Pause it for like 3 or 4 minutes. And sure enough, I'd pause it, and about 45 seconds after I paused it, there's a knock down in the timber below us. So it was interesting. My daylight sighting was in Michigan. Yeah, fire doesn't seem to be something they're interested in. Yeah, no Pringles tonight. I know so many of you guys are bummed. I ate them all. Yeah, last night I ate the whole can. I was pretty hungry. Honey mustard Pringles, man, they're a way to go. And if not those, you got to have the salt and vinegar or dill pickle. It's just the way it is. Pizza is great, like at a picnic, the pizza flavored ones, but Chris wants me to tell my sighting story from Michigan. I don't know. I'm hearing something below me real quick. I'm gonna check with the thermal. I got a nice open area tonight to check. A lot of rodents. Try to get over here past the fire. Oh yeah, there's a lot of rodents out tonight. All of the rocks are hot. Alright, nothing on the perimeter. Just rodents. Alright, let's see here. Oh, John Taylor, thank you. Really appreciate that. I burned through at least that much gas today. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. What thermal unit am I using? I'm using the ATN BlazeTrek 19 thermal imager. It's got a 1:1 magnification, as digital zoom, 16 gigabytes of onboard video. It's 640 by 512 with a 25,000 millikelvin sensor in it. Get about 7 hours battery life out of it. It has a Wi-Fi app. It's dust proof and rain proof. You can pick those up for about 1,400 to 1,600, and you can get the new version, which is the ATN BlazeTrek 619, and that's upgraded. It's got a better millikelvin sensor, same resolution, and it's got 32 gigs onboard memory, so you twice as much video capacity, and it has a good battery, and they've also upgraded the software, and that's for about 1,800. It's about, to get a good 640 handheld thermal that can stand up to abuse for under 2,000 is really good. And I like the wide field of view. This one has like a 32 degree, well, I don't quote me on that. I think it might be between 25 and 32. I don't remember which. A much wider field of view than the traditional 11 to 17 that other ones have. Those are really good for far away objects, but when you're trying to cover a wide area like in timber, it's good to have that wide field of view. Hello from New Mexico. $15 per gallon here in Yikes. Yeah, Idaho's probably the best place for it right now. Here in Washington, it's like $5.50. Yeah, in anywhere in town, it's even more. Hey, Jonathan Easley's in the chat. What's up? Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm just out here chilling solo in the woods with a fire and anybody interested in hanging out. Rigging up thermal. Yeah, I mean, I'm running my handheld. I'd love to do a live thermal view to YouTube, and I am going to work on something for that because I have a thermal core set aside to tinker with, so we'll see. Just need patience to figure it out. It's going to take a little time. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Need the luck. This is the time of the year where it's just luck because we don't have enough reports on record to tell us a whole lot about what's moving where. Tried yesterday last night near a sighting report location, and then spent all day today, did about 10 miles, trying to get to the actual sighting location that this young guy reported to me last week, and I'm exhausted. bushwhacked over everything, sticks in my eyes, had pine needles in my pockets and boots and stuff. It was got dehydrated too. I need to actually get something to rehydrate here in a minute. No owls yet. Interestingly enough. I can't say I know anyone specifically in Pennsylvania that's currently there. I used to know one guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's been so long. Yeah, I've been bluff charged by a Sasquatch before. That was a hostile situation in Michigan, and I've had trees shaken at me and torn down on my property back in Michigan. Yeah, Chris had a rock thrown at him while he was actually going to the bathroom, or right after he'd gone to the bathroom. I am broadcasting from a stand of timber on the north slope of a mountain range that somewhere in the Cascades of Washington State. I'm in a nice little select cut strip right where the ground widens out and all the springs are funneling down to the east and west of me. And this is a good pinch point. I can hear pretty good, and things can hear me well down below or up high. Yeah, it's definitely a corrupt state. Washington is one is. I won't go into it too long, but it's super corrupt. Beautiful state though. It's hard to leave when you don't have to deal with hard winters and you got mountains popping up everywhere and you can be out most of the year. I don't have the perimeter covered. I have it monitored. So I have my audio recorder out and I've got my handheld here. Radium Springs in BC, the good area right there. I don't know what I must be throwing Alderon or something because this it keeps burning through this stuff so fast I can't get it. So I'm gonna try to perk it up here and really get it lit. Okay, grab this guy. There you go. Oh, that one's better. That'll be a good knocker right there. Oh yeah, that's got ring. I'll hang on to that one. So I'm gonna burn this guy. Just some of this wood's a little bit wet, so I'm trying to dry some of it out so it burns better. There we go. Grab this one too. There we go. Preheated wood. Alright, let's see here. Any marshmallows? Hold on 1 second. I mean, I would say Idaho's pretty nice. Idaho doesn't seem to have it too bad. They seem to enact the will of the people. I won't go into it too much, but Idaho's a great place. I lived there for a while. It's getting pretty popular, much like Florida. Have we thought about hosting a weekend camp out with fans? In the future, we're trying to work something out like that. Like, we're going to be doing a conference this summer out here in Washington. It's the put on by Lewis County. It's I think it's called Beyond the Footprint Conference. That's, I think, hesitantly what the title's called. And we're going to be speakers there and going to have like a VIP thing where people can join us at a campfire and hang out with us. And we're working on some other stuff I can't talk about right now, but it's stuff like that is possible. Marshmallows, no. I have to avoid sugar. The Pringles are as close as it gets for me to processed starches, and so I have to stay away from sugar. Yeah, Frog Girl 74. You might see that with other Bigfoot researchers. That's not the case with us. People get freaked out by these things because they go out on a whim and they don't really understand what they're doing, and they might have activity on their property or in a location, and they get freaked out and they jump out. It's a thing. Not anybody who's super hardcore. It so it kind of separates, as they say, separates the men from the boys, if you will. I guess that's our expression. Yeah, Oregon coast. I've done a lot of. I've been into the Oregon coast for research trips in the past. Didn't have anything happen, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Maybe someday, like some kind of fundraiser or group thing. Yeah, why not? Oh, Scrubs 33. Thank you. $10. That's awesome. Gas in the tank. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, do they leave because they're freaked out? Exactly, Christina. Yeah, we're pretty lively. I do a lot of night walks and crawling around in the dark, and we're pretty tech heavy. Chris, for instance, puts out audio recorders. He has a head recorder, he has a camp recorder, and then we put out 4 thermal imagers around camp. He's got some handheld setups and cans. We have a video called Thermal in a Can, so you can check it out how we do it. And those get deposited to watch our perimeter, so that if anything approaches, we capture it. Yeah, Idaho's a great place to raise a family. Have we received any gifts? I can't say that we've received gifts. We've, and I'd hate to even assign something to this, but we've had objects show up. At least for me, I've had objects show up. Rocks that weren't there in and around my camp, or in and around areas where I know for a fact people have not been, but there's a 3-pound rock just now there. It's half dirty from being pulled out of the ground. Stuff like that. That's as close as we've gotten. Chris and Kirk can't be with me tonight. They got stuff going on, and so I'm just solo out here. No, I'm not aware of anyone seeing a Sasquatch looking at the stars or anything. Um, I'm aware of several reports of Sasquatches being aware of moonlight and not want to enter an area because the moonlight made them more visible. But I'm not aware of anything noticing the stars. Yeah, when you see one of these things, it's a life altering experience. So I understand why people get freaked out, but you know, when you're somebody who's a researcher and you've had a close experience more than once, like you just need to learn to stick around, just hang out and do your job, film, put out your make sure you're getting audio, all that stuff. That's correct. It shifts your paradigm. It shifts your mentality. You go through this questioning, am I dreaming? You go through a whole bunch of different things, and then by the time your brain's caught up, it's all over. Yeah, cooking bacon. I love cooking bacon in the field. Kirk and I used to do it all the time, and then we just kind of held off on the bacon recently just because we end up getting so busy with all the truths, we don't have time to sit around and actually cook anymore. We most of the time it's run and gun, get the truths done, and come back, eat a protein bar, try to warm up from being soaked all day by the fire for a few minutes, and then we go to bed. Yeah, the whole tech debate, like, oh, technology. What I think that these things can do is I think they can see into the infrared spectrum a little bit because they have really good night vision. So rods and cone values in the eyes are in a different position. They probably have a lot more rods than cones. I might have that backwards. But they can essentially see much deeper, I think, into the light spectrum than we can. They have really good night vision. There's no way debating that. They can see at night and not step in mountain beaver holes or impale their feet and get physically wrecked climbing down stuff. So they have great night vision, which means they're probably seeing into the infrared spectrum a little. And I think that when people put out trail cameras and set up night vision and all that stuff, you're just setting up a situation where, you know, you're setting it off and it's just blasting the area with infrared light. Trail cameras get activated by the PIR sensor when a bat flies by or a rodent goes through or a deer comes through, and it just kind of like signals to everything that there's something weird on the tree. They also may be able to pick up on EMF, electromagnetic field output, and that may alter. They may be able to detect it somehow because we know tigers and coyote somehow, and even chimpanzees to a degree, seem to somehow be aware and pick out game cameras before setting them off and actually learn to go behind the game camera to avoid being in front of it. Where obviously most of the energy would be directed from the EMF field. So we've solved that problem by cutting down the EMF field by putting it in essentially a Faraday cage, which is the ammo box containers. So our thermal imagers, and these have a massive range on them. And no animal has yet to pick up on it. And we've filmed like lone large alpha coyotes and stuff like that. Animals that typically pick up on the game cameras are not. Have I ever heard of mimicking barred owls? Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never heard it myself. Um, oh wow, Jeffrey. Thank you. That is, that's massive. Jeez, dude, dude. Thank you. That is huge. Wow, 99, like $100. Wow. Guys, thank you. You guys support us so much in this when you watch and share and super chat like that. That's nuts. Thank you. Oh, dude. Oh, man. That's epic. Thank you. Oh, you guys got us on the big screen. That's wild. That's awesome. TV. It's weird. I'm out here in the woods, and there's people at home watching me in the woods on a TV. It's crazy. It's hard to even imagine that. Man, this fire kind of sucks. I gotta perk it up. It's gotta look good. I'm on the big screen. It's gotta look good. Ow. There we go. Perk it up a little. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, there is definitely a little bit of a mental breakdown for seeing one. Like I said, it throws everything out. You start questioning reality essentially for a little while. Again, thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey J9620. Thank you. Oh, Scroll Rider, thank you. $5. That's awesome. Thank you. Man, you guys are just awesome. It's blowing my mind. That's awesome. Thank you. Let me see here. So I've had a lot of activity solo, but I can't necessarily say it's because I'm solo, because I'm just out so much, right? Like I can't tease out the difference. But like I know that I know if I was like a Sasquatch, I'd be more I could approach more often if there was a smaller group of humans, meaning like one or two. The smaller the group, or down to one individual, it's less to focus on, easier to track. So there might be something to it. Do I think that they can stun prey? Tigers can, as you mentioned. Sperm whales can. Elephants can stun aggressors or dangerous things with some infrasound and the shock of the large projected volume. Do I think that they have the ability to? It's hard to say. I know people say they feel physically shook up when they hear close range vocalization. It actually puts them through shock. That's what some people call getting zapped from time to time. That's at least how it's verbed at that time. Let me see here. I've been to the Capitol State Forest, yes. Oh, thank you, SMG 2040. $20, that's awesome. You guys, you're really, like, this helps us out. We just spent a whole bunch of money on new equipment. Like, I got the new night vision for the channel for filming, and this was very expensive. So you guys are filling the gap here. I really appreciate it. Between gas and the, having this equipment, we're trying to improve the channel, trying to be more available and put more time in it. It's huge what you guys do for us. We really appreciate you guys watching and doing everything you do and sharing your content and then stuff like this. You're blowing us away. I haven't heard anything yet tonight besides some rodents. Do I think language? Yes, I personally am convinced they have language as we define it. I've had a number of experiences and recorded a few things that have there's no way around it. For me. And I've studied language a little bit. I understand the difference between vocalizations, utterances, warning calls, and exchanges with emotional intonality and morpheme expression, like the breakup of a word and its inflection and how much emotional effort it's assigned and what context. So for me, after what I've heard, I'm convinced that they have language. You want the channel to make it even if Chris is grumpy. He's not always grumpy, guys. He's not always grumpy. Chris and I have a lot of fun all the time. He's awesome. Oh, Mark McClure, $50. Thanks, man. You guys are blowing me away right now. Like, this is nuts. I was not expecting you guys to be like this. This is nuts. We were just hoping you guys would watch the video. Ah, dude. Oh, dude. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Do I think the language stems from First Nation languages? I hesitate to say yes, because I'm not convinced, but there is a number of contextual notes to the things we've heard in person that have meanings in native language locally that make it interesting because it would contextually fit with what was happening. But I'm unsure. We don't have enough data to say. I find it interesting enough to pay attention to it. Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. I love those Marionberry. You know me and those inclines, man. I love them. Correct. Yeah, like mentioned, the optometrists and stuff on night. The larger the eyeballs, like Neanderthals, they think Neanderthals and Denisovans, or Denisovans, depending on the pronunciation, they had larger eye sockets and eyeballs than typical, and they lived far north, and so those eyes were almost tuned for the 6 months of darkness that they get up there in the winter. In those Arctic regions in Siberia and stuff, Southeast Alaska, all the areas that they would have inhabited potentially. And yeah, so just larger surface area, wider pupil opening, and then a wider, deeper curve reflective plate on the retina for picking up, receiving, and transmitting more light signaling to the brain. Also, in some humans, there is like a pseudo-tapetum lucidum, meaning there is a semi-reflective layer in some human eyes to absorb more light. We actually can see it in some older folks when their eyes get older. You can see that they'll have eye shine when you put a headlamp on them. My grandmother, for instance, had eye shine. If you hit her from 15 to 20 degrees from the side with a light, she actually had visible red eye shine. Yeah, we're set as far as gas goes. Thank you. That is awesome. Oh, I hope stopping. Oh, you guys good? Can you see me? The cloud cover's thickening up. Let me see here. Thank you, Mark McClure. I appreciate that. We're doing the best we can with the, taking the truths to the next level and doing all the stuff we're doing with the audio and survey and data mapping, report mapping. We're trying really hard to be good citizen scientists. That's our goal. That's what we're for. Thank you, SC Pad Adventures. We appreciate you guys coming and joining us and watching. That you guys get to see what we do. We love sharing it. Hoping to inspire people involved in research to see what we're doing and learn from us, or learn from our mistakes, and you know, advance and take a bigger step than just having experiences. Yeah, the fire is, I'm trying to feed the fire. I've got it propped up so it kind of feeds itself every so often, but this wood keeps burning through so fast for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think it's just young alder or something. Might be actually aged out large leaf maple. That burns through fast. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where the future goes with Sasquatch linguistics. Appreciate that, Christina Bennett. Oh, we got another Kirk in the chat. That's awesome. Where are we? Well, I'm solo out here in the Cascades of Washington. I just happen to get a good signal here, and we're in an area where there is at least 5 really high quality Sasquatch sightings and vocal encounters. So I'm streaming from the field out here, running audio, running thermal, doing all that stuff. So I have never witnessed eye glow. That being said, I could see that a large eye gathering and refracting moonlight could generate like a pseudo glowing eye shine that looks red, because especially in primates, when you do get an eye shine type response, it's red color many times, and it's very dull. But I could see in a situation where something is looking uphill and there's a skyline, or up into the edge of the sky, or the moon is rising and hitting into the eyes, it could generate this red glowing eye effect. But I've never witnessed glowing eyes. I've seen eye shine before. No, Kaiju Ninja, I have not seen anything or heard anything super suspicious. I had a large animal moving around my camp the other night. I'd have to review the audio when I get home to find out if there's anything further than that. But just a lot of cougars and bears around. Thank you, SMG 2040. We do too. We hope we get that video. Danger Dave. No, not yet. We're working on trying to figure out all this social media stuff. We're not big. We're new to it, so we're figuring it out. Eventually, we're gonna do something like a Patreon or something. We're working on it. Oh, Ted Clark, 2812. Thank you. $20 for the gas and the food. Thank you. And AA batteries and AAA batteries. We go through so many AAA batteries. Thank you. Appreciate it. That you guys have just like our whole next 2 weeks is paid for. Thank you. That's awesome. My tent is right back here, and I'm tent camping. I do camp in the truck occasionally, but I really like to camp in the tent. I can hear. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do a Patreon eventually. That Chris and I have been talking about it and banging on that for a while now, but we're gonna get it worked out. Thank you. And we'll do be doing a lot of exclusive content, sharing some photographs from the field, some video, showing our casts from tracks that we pull and stuff, teaching some casting classes, maybe stuff like that. Just show you guys how things are done. I'd love to share that. Pringles. Yeah, I don't have Pringles tonight, unfortunately. I'd love to have Pringles, but I don't. I'm fresh out. No, Kaiju Ninja, we are not in the same location we found the trackway. We're going to be visiting that soon, though. Yeah, I've never witnessed the eye glow. Kirk has, and I believe him. but I've just never witnessed it. Oh, can you still see? I notice that when the clouds get thick, I lose the signal a little bit. Just let me know if it does, because it tries to connect pretty quick, but I had a good signal here. Let me just check the battery on this, make sure we're still good. Here. Oh yeah, we're golden. Always packing, yes. Always. I never go anywhere in the backcountry or in a sketchy area without packing. That's my rule. We're gonna be going back to that spot soon. Yeah, I have a really nice air pad and a thermal reflective layer and a heating mat and my down sleeping bag, so I'm pretty good. Yep. Mine's a Gen 4, love it. No, we don't have any deployed nearby this location. I visited the area today, but we have Trues in other locations running currently. Hominid lineage from Sasquatch Wizard of Adirondacks. Yeah, I really like the theory that they're in the hominid class versus traditional Pongidae. So knuckle walking apes that have moved into some exterior class versus something that came directly out of the hominids. For instance, we know that Neanderthal had genetic association to the Denisovans, and something intermixed with the Denisovans that had a high contrast genetic profile, really archaic features, and they think that got introduced in somewhere in the outflow of China, Asia generally. And I think that whatever that genetic factor introduction is of the archaic features, so think like the thicker bone mass, stiffer rigid hands, more ape-like proportions, whatever gene contributions that they're all excited about, I think it's possible that Sasquatch has something blended into there somewhere. Somehow that's similar. Something's going on there. Oh yeah, mountain lions are thriving. There's no question. They're in Washington State. They're overpopulated, just like the bear. In Washington State, for every single 8 mile by 8 mile box, there is at least one cat living for every 8 miles in this state, at least. We have some areas that we get 4 or 5 cats living in the same area, cruising through by our cameras and stuff. Yes, I record audio while we go to bed as well, and I review it when I get home. I'm 32. I'm 32 years old. .357's great. I used to have a little EAA Arms 357, then I had a Smith & Wesson for a while too. I still have the Smith & Wesson. Love that. Yeah, not related to Giganto. I doubt it. Highly, highly doubt it. Yeah, hard cast ammunition's really a big thing. I believe in that. Big proponent of hard cast. Hot, heavy, and hard. Yeah, good thing, Tristan, that you didn't get mangled. You know, cats cats will go after people occasionally. It's not often, but it's often enough to make you worried about it. No, I don't think they're Neanderthal. Neanderthal genomically have shorter limb proportions, and they don't have a reduced neck. And then they also, their facial profile does not fit what we see in Sasquatches, and they're smaller. Um, and they're proportionally, and then there's things goofy, like they have an arch based foot. Sasquatches don't have that. They're definitely not Neanderthal, and they're definitely not Denisovans, but they are something. I This is my guess, again, my theory. They are something a step one or two steps back from Denisovans. Whatever genetically contributed to the Denisovans genomic profile, I've got a hunch that there's something Sasquatch related going on there. Just a guess. Based on what we know. And in 5 years, it could all mean nothing because we have a complete genomic rehash all over again. Every four or 5 years, we rehash the, the family tree based on genetics and new ontological discoveries. Yeah, the soft white glow. That's my Honda Ridgeline back there, silver. It's reflecting light back. Yeah, moose are no fun either. Aggressive. I've been around aggressive bull moose at least 6 or 7 times in Idaho. It can be stressful, and the only time I ever feel really good is when I'm in tight reprod or something. Then I know the moose is gonna have a bull's gonna have a hard time negotiating that with me in the middle. Then I usually feel a little bit better. But in open clear cut regrowth stuff and a moose is plowing toward me, it's a little sketchy. I've got a lot of videos of that happening though. It's wild. Correct, Wampus Hunter. I don't think that they are heavy into tool use. I don't think they're into fire. I don't think they're into clothing or mechanical traps. I don't think any of that stuff. They seem to have gone the opposite direction. Humans are highly social, diurnal creatures that are not capable of surviving in their environment without modifying the environment or problem solving a way to get out of the environment itself, i.e., building a shelter or something like that. Sasquatches have gone the opposite route. They have physically relied on their brawn, and they have just enough brain to work out how to use their brawn to overcome the circumstances. They're kind of antisocial, crepuscular, if not nocturnal, reclusive, elusive creatures that have vice grip hands. They're not playing guitar or piano. They don't have a whole lot of detail capability, I don't think, with the hands. Just get a hold of, twist, and torque and break. When they need into an animal, they pull it apart. When they need to get over something, they pull it down. When they want to get past an obstacle, they just climb over it because they've got monkey-like arms and legs. Where I'm at, what's the most significant event that comes from that area in terms of possible activity? I got a really good report in November from just above me here. Of a hunter and his son being followed out by power knocks up by that lake up there. And then Chris and I last spring, around this time, found a halfway decent 17-inch by, I think, 8-inch impression in the mud up there. And we also recorded some good vocals. Chris has those in a video as well on our channel. No, I couldn't get to the steak tonight. I halfway thought about it. Went down as I went through town, but the two stores I have options for the steaks would be double as expensive as if I bought them in big town. So I just couldn't bring myself to spend the extra money knowing that my gas tank was low. Which you guys are solving that problem. Yeah, so humans modify the landscape and make it very suitable for critters, ungulates to congregate and collect. And I think the Sasquatches want to take advantage of that. And then there's also human created resources, like think like old apple orchards or backyard gardens. And these are caloric dumps that not only attract the ungulates, but the Sasquatches may directly be able to take advantage of. So there's a huge factor there. So yes, there is a compression factor where the Sasquatches feel the draw, I think, to come down and hang out near some human type areas, but only where they can kind of get away with it. Yes, they are the yin to our yang. That's exactly, I've actually used that exact terminology to describe this. I'm going to ramp up this fire. Um, which it means in, looking at omnivores filling niches, their behavior makes total sense. What they avoid, why they avoid it, all that stuff. All right, there we go. That should brighten it up in here. I'm going to throw the bigger log on there now and get it real hot. It's got a big knot in it, so it should burn pretty hot. There we go. Let's see here. Let me see here. I don't want to put them in the big ape category. I don't like that terminology per se. I think they're a hominid, but I think they're a hominid before the leap really is made to start modifying the environment. Humans made a massive step, depending on what you believe, to modifying things to make things suitable for them. But there were hominids that didn't do those things, early hominids. And this could be something that kind of branched and then integrated and then rebranched again. They are much, much smarter, I think, than chimps and gorillas. And I'm not putting chimps or gorillas down. I'm just saying there is something, the language aspect, I think, alone puts them far outside of what chimps and orangutans and gorillas and bonobos are. And then also the level in which they think, how tactical they seem to be, how careful and thoughtful they make their choices. I think there is a big difference. And I think they're in the hominid class. Also looking at their morphology, their foot morphology is a human-like design, but with the flexibility and pliability of ape-like feet. But it's, again, no divergent, thumb on the foot, and they have a more upright posture. They're not walking on all fours, just eating bananas and cracking nuts open. They're probably much more aware than what we give them credit for. And I'm not taking anything away from apes. Yeah, I heard that about Stroud. I don't know what to make of it. I've never experienced that in the woods associated with Sasquatch, ever. I mean, there's other spiritual things out there that could be appealing or manipulating or playing with people searching for answers who have an open mind. I don't know, but I'll leave it there for tonight on that. I think they're able to sprint on all fours if they should need to. Yes, I do believe that. They've been seen crawling and brachiating through brush and pulling themselves up along all fours and crawling around on all fours foraging. So I don't think it's like a common mode of transportation, but it's definitely comfortable, I think. Yes, I've heard about that location, NC Pad Adventures. That area is on my radar. I'm very, very aware of that. It's just that getting in there and doing any kind of research would be difficult. But it is a there's something about the salmon pathways in the spring and winter, 100%. Yeah, I got some real wood on there now. Yeah, you got to remember that humans wear shoes, and that creates a compression factor and can actually lengthen the foot compared to its width. Um, so when you don't have constraints of shoes and stuff, the foot tends to go wider in humans even rather than longer as much. So you do see that. You can actually look at photographs of tribes in like South America and Africa that go barefoot. They have a much, much more reduced arch, wider toe splay, and the foot is much stronger, including the ankle, and it doesn't get as long as it does from, their North American Converse wearing counterparts. Yeah, the Dragon Man and Denisovan connection. There is again. I think there's something. I think they're one or two notches back from whatever genetic contributors provided those big chunks of what are noted as archaic DNA. DNA that should not be in, looking at the gaps from species to species to species in hominids. We get back to Denisova and Dragon Man, which is basically the same thing. And there's huge chunks of genome changes that are super archaic, meaning they're contributed from something much, much older with much, much more ape-like features according to the genome that they're looking at. And I think whatever the contributor is to that would make sense as the facilitator of these changes in the genetics we see of the Dragon Man and Denisovan populations. Yeah, Daniel, that is an opinion. I don't necessarily share it. I've had close range encounters, um, you know, many, many times, not had any of the spiritual stuff happen in regards to that. And I am a traditional Christian guy. And typically, when I do run into things of that nature, they don't stick around when I'm around. And that's not the case with the Sasquatch stuff. I think people project a lot of that stuff into it because of the Book of Enoch and some biblical texts and some of either exterior religious texts and storytelling. I think get interplayed, and culture is like a conglomerate. It's like a pudding stone. All these different cultures come together and plop into each other and mesh and explain away the unknown or provide a platform for explanation or comfort or storytelling. We see this in native cultures. We see it in cultures in Asia. Um, and I think that there's a lot of that going on. I've not experienced any of the paranormal stuff. I would suggest that it's possible that demonic influences and stuff like that play on people looking for Bigfoot and pretend to be something like that. I could see that, and then getting down into it and messing with people that way. Playing on an interest and manifesting as something similar enough to the interest to damage them. Yeah, the Nephilim. Yeah, spider crawling Sasquatches sounds uncomfortable, even for me. Yeah, the Ohio stuff, we haven't really kept up on it. We'll have to look into it later. Yeah, more live thermal drone searches is the plan. And then I'm also working on getting our TRUs to a 1 month runtime or over. About 35 days is what I think is possible at this point. We're trying to get those units swapped out and up our number of cameras to give us more time in the field doing other things rather than just servicing TRUs. How do I think they were created? I don't really know. I know that chimps are created. I know gorillas are created. I know orangutans exist, and we know there were all kinds of different kinds of populations of humans around the world. We dig up their bones. Some giants, some pygmies, some whatever. And this could be something near human as we define it. May or may, may not have a soul. It might just be some kind of animal-like human. It's a humanoid-looking type animal. I don't know. I'm not going to make that call. I'm just saying that it existing does not interfere with the narrative at all for what I personally believe or any of that. Yeah, the portal stuff, I don't take any of it seriously. I'll be fully blunt here. I hear a lot about portals, don't see a lot of evidence for portals. I hear a lot about people experiencing all the paranormal stuff, and I just don't have, no one seems to have video, no one seems to have good evidence. It's stories, it's word of mouth, it's out of the mind and out the mouth, and I just can't put a lot of credibility in that. I'm a show me kind of guy. Sorry. Just if it's there, more power to these people having these experiences, but they need to start documenting it rather than making excuses as to why they can't. We're doing all we can and we're getting good stuff. So our methodology is moving to refute and destroy their claims. So yeah, I've heard that claim also, that they have angelic abilities. Again, there's no evidence for this. It's just storytelling around it. Dozens and dozens of people within the cultural capsule of Bigfoot have these claims that there's no evidence for. And so I can't take them seriously until there's a body of evidence to support that capability, to support these kind of claims. So I just personally can't go down that road with you. Good luck if that's where you're pursuing it and if you're interested. And quite honestly, if you really think that they're fallen angels, that makes them demonic, and you probably shouldn't be interested in them. I don't know. Like, I know if I found out these things were that, my interest would wane very quickly. Well, I mean, of course, if God created everything, he had to have created Bigfoot. Yeah. A lot of things have been labeled, that's true. I'm just saying, we have to leave the door of possibility open that it's possible. Because the idea is that there's interplay. Evil always interplays with what normal is. It manipulates and controls by, slipping just enough truth into it to get people to take that pill. That's kind of my point. Yes, we have a plan if we find a body. Yep. And I can't really share it, unfortunately, right now. No, I don't really have any internal conflict. Because of my personal fundamental beliefs. I think that God has made all forms of other life. I don't know why this one should be any different other than culture
got this program that a person has to be, and that means that I have to subscribe to animal-like people, which somehow is supposed to rob God of his divinity and his creativity, or me of my personhood by turning me into close proximity to animals. I don't agree with that whole subscription platform. There's a lot of things that look kind of sort of human, you know, when you boil it down, and there's a lot of things that, you know, act and display things, learn sign language just like we do. Dolphins have a language more complex than our own. So these attributes are all culturally crafted monikers of value, of humanness. You know, anthropomorphization is done internally and then projected. So. Let me see here. How did Yowie get to Australia? Well, I mean, lots of things washed up in Australia, and hominids are the brightest, most mobile thing. Like, they ended up everywhere. Everywhere we go, there's evidence of hominids. They get there. They're getting there. So, I don't know. Giant flightless birds made it to Australia. Moas and stuff. Yeah, when you say existing wild human species, I don't know that I would categorize them like that. Again, when we say human, it means like Homo sapien or Homo rudolfensis or Homo neanderthalis or Homo denisilva. This is in the modern context, like language, art, expression, tool use, manipulation, craft, cultural tradition, storytelling. There's a lot of that stuff that's wrapped up in the context of human that we don't have enough information about Sasquatch to really tie together into that total subscription platform. I think they're a hominid, but I don't necessarily know that they're as far along into the Homo classification as we are discussing. What is the third supposedly 7 types? I don't know if you're talking about angels specifically. Give me more context. Daniel Cabrelis. Yeah, if you got video, change my mind. You're welcome to. Send it to me at our email. I've left this challenge out there many, many times to anybody that has this claim. And so far, I've gotten a lot of the red circle, pixelated, blurry stuff. I haven't seen anything truly convincing. But you're welcome to try to change my mind. Yeah, I know who Scott Carpenter is. I've followed his stuff for a little bit just to see what all the hubbub was about. Yeah, there's no conflict for me either, Christina. Yeah, our email is studysasquatch@comcast.net, and then we also have studysasquatch@gmail.com. You're welcome to send anything you want to show there. Obviously, anything you share is going to be kept private. I will not publish anything. But I'm interested to see what you've got there. Again, we welcome any claim as long as you can back it up with good, intangible, or rigid evidence. Okay, well, yeah, the Nephilim. It's a back and forth on that. I've heard that before. This spring has been more active than normal. I'm getting more reports, and I'm following up on them best I can. I'm going to get this fire stoked up. But it's been a little tough to play the game. But Get that up there. All right, gonna put some fur on here. This should get nice and hot now and big. All right. All right, let's see here. Sorry guys, the chat's going crazy. It's hard for me to keep up with everything. Yeah, I don't think Satan created them. I'm not convinced of that. I'll look up the map parish thing. I'll check it out. Yeah. I've seen what some people would call orbs. I don't know what they are. I've seen 2, maybe 3. They come from something. They happen. I've seen them, but never in association to Sasquatch stuff. I just encounter it in the woods, sometimes close to human habitation. Some people see them in the sky. I don't know, but I've never had a Bigfoot experience in association to them. I think they're a completely separate phenomenon based on what I've experienced. Yes, we have a plan if we ever found a body, but I can't share it, unfortunately. Just know that there are many, many steps. There's a lot of code talk and multiple locations for things to wind up. So that's all I'll say about that. What is my day job? So I actually quit my day job to do this channel and be able to be home with my son a lot more during the week while my wife works. She's a teacher. And I'm really trying to grow our YouTube, and you guys are helping massively. Appreciate everything you guys do. So that I can be out researching pretty much full time and sharing with you guys wildlife clips, our efforts, our videos, our research, get out and do more research trips, investigate reports. That's another thing that's coming this year. We're going to be investigating a lot more one-on-one witness interaction, like filming the witness, telling their story, where it happened, and bringing that to you guys. We're going to be doing a little bit of that. Yes, I like to stay longer than a weekend anytime it's humanly possible. As a matter of fact, coming up mid-April, I will be out for 10 days straight. So, in the backcountry, and I'm going to be doing at least half of that alone. Oh, Jackie Terry, we work really hard. Thank you. I appreciate it. We try our best. Yeah, we got a great team here. Everybody's on the same page. Pushes the envelope. We think outside the box. We get creative. We design new systems, and we're getting pretty good results. We're getting good audio on the regular. We're finding them. We're keying in on those spots and getting interactions. So we're doing better than the average, and we're trying our absolute best. And we try not to make any outrageous claims. We try to be very careful to vet our evidence, and we're very cautious to just believe something blind deep into investigating it before we put a lot of credibility in it. So I'm glad that reads to some of you guys. I appreciate that. Thanks, Kaiju Ninja. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Yeah, I don't think they have culture or creative thinking beyond very basic tool implementation, like digging with a stick or getting to certain plants for some medicinal purposes. Um, Obviously, using rocks as ways to bludgeon animals, I think, is a thing. We need a lot more information. We're so small on the information scale to make these calls. So, yeah, I hesitate to draw a line anywhere yet. The frogs are out tonight, but I'm nowhere near any marshes, so I can't really hear them. Down lower, I'd be able to hear them. Yeah, I've heard the story about St. Helens and then getting flown off the mountain by the military. I've heard about the reservation thing. I have heard it all. It's all kind of just word of mouth. And I shy away anything that's just word of mouth. There's got to be evidence. I don't know if, like, you guys are, the past, like, 5 years, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things, but a lot of it's lying, a lot of it's manipulating, a lot of it's to get misdirect and get you to believe one thing versus the truth. It's because there's money in a narrative, or if they can distract you or make you think something's totally absurd, you don't even research it far enough to know anything. So I don't trust anything I can't touch or measure myself. That's kind of... There's a few things I do, but those things are personal. Yeah, lots of people have seen Sasquatch with orbs. Yeah, and lots of people have seen clowns dancing with unicorns. My point is, if it's word of mouth and there's not any evidence to back it up, I can't do anything with that. And I'm not going to start believing something just because someone says something. I legit had a guy the other day tell me that dogmen were killing people and putting them up in trees in this area. And that they have a relationship with the UAPs and all this other stuff. You get the point. People say a lot of things, and I just don't trust a lot on that. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get out there. I hope I'm not... Okay, I see. Connection's a little sketchy. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm putting everything I got into building this channel and sharing what I do and trying to edit videos for you guys, and I'm doing the best I can. Oh, at the nest site. So yeah, I visited the nest site, and I found a lot of breaks. Old ones. Some were like 7, 8 years old. Some were 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, and then I found some breaks that were less than a month old. They were about a month. Chris found 2 13-inch impressions while we were out. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I couldn't find teeth marks or claw marks. So if it's bear, I can't how they're doing it. Also, very, very clear, distinctive habits. I examined this very, very deeply. There's very distinct differences between the breaks that are done while traveling, while they're moving stuff out of the way and they're breaking stuff, and even how they're collecting them to build nests, and then the breaks that are occur during feeding. You can tell the difference. The directional brakes are just levered over and the tip is folded over. The brakes on a feeding cluster, meaning a chunk of this huckleberry where they're feeding, they're breaking them down and tucking them into the brush, or folding them directly backward at a high elevation, so the arm can get past them to pull berries or material. Very distinct differences between travel breaks and feeding breaks. And it doesn't seem, based on how high they are and how big some of them are, that it's black bear. And it's just very unique. Yeah, I'm trying with the thermals. The game with the thermals is right place, right time, right distance, and animal walking in front of it. That's what the game is. I'm trying to talk to some property owners around the Cascades here that have activity that I could deploy the systems at their property and maybe capture something happening that way. That's something I'm hoping for. Yeah, Shane and Ton walked in on one trying to build a nest. And we've got some exciting stuff coming down the line regarding eDNA stuff we're working on right now. Can't talk about it right now because some of the concepts I'm coming up with for some of this collection technique are not worked out yet. And then also we're doing currently in the middle of saying. I'm not saying it's all orbs happen in remote areas, but so do Bigfoot reports. There's no reason to draw a correlation between the two. That would be like me drawing a distinction between, oh, well, I saw a Sasquatch in this remote, distant area, and then I also saw a wolverine. They're just two really rare things that exist in the same space. They exist in the same habitat. We just don't have any distinct evidence. Like we don't have video of an orb floating through someone's campsite at extremely close range that is distinctly not a dust particle or a lens flare, and then a Bigfoot vocal going off from a trusted source person. We don't have that. Once we start having something like that, that's more measurable. That's strong evidence. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the hiding the cameras, that's always a real challenge. I'm kind of the camo guy. It's my thing. I can hide anything anywhere. I've grown up because I grew up with neighbors that were into trapping and hunting, fishing, and in trapping you have to hide your traps. So I learned from some guys about how that's all done. So camouflage is something I take very, very seriously when I'm putting out systems. Because I don't want these things to see them. I don't want them to detect the EMF. So we Faraday caged them. We've blocked them from total scent output so they don't put out polyethylene heated particles in the wind when the sun hits them. This is steel. They're waterproof. It's totally a different ball game. These things, and animals that normally detect game cameras and other things cannot detect these. We've all put out game cameras in front of elk, and then the elk find the camera and they rub on it and they push on it and they eyeball it, stick their face in it. Never happened with our systems. It's never happened. They do not seem to be able to detect them. And we do hope to be able to make them available to the public soon. We're still working that out. Yeah, Richard, I've literally been on that side of the spectrum in my youth. There is a massive disparity, and I've written about this extensively in forums. There is a massive disparity between the claims that I'll just call woo and the claims that are by the traditional scientific pursuit, for lack of a better term, researchers. The disparity is the actual researchers are still collecting data that undermines the case and strengthens their case, but it undermines the case of the woo perspective because it's based on a lack of evidence. I couldn't film them because they were invisible. I saw orbs, but I don't have any pictures. The footprints just disappear, but trust me, I didn't photograph them. I get this all the time. I've heard it. I have talked to thousands of people about their sighting, their report, their orb encounter, their trackway that went to nowhere in the snow. The evidence always comes up short on those claims. Every single time. I have never encountered one thing that you could look at and dissect and go, wow, I can't explain that. I can't understand that. So that's what I'm saying. Oh no, Sasquatch Wizard. I've been a member of the Bigfoot forums since 2011. It's impossible to wear me down. I am as there is not a person you will meet in the subject that has more grit on this stuff than me, and I can back up anything that I'm going to make a claim on. I back it up. Yeah, Yellow Jacket Creek. I know that area, and the Cispus. The entire Cowlitz is active. Yeah, I think they can see at night really well. Yeah, it's true. We are kind of the minority. Well, Richard, I'm very happy to look at your video if you can send me the links, and then I'll be willing to dissect and try to figure out what's going on. I'm always open to be stumped. I never reject evidence. If someone submits evidence, I'm gonna look at it. So. Yep, Steenberg. I respect Steenberg a lot for that. Yeah, again, that's the nature of research, is that it's clinical, it can be boring, it is just the repetition, grinding, and then collecting data. It's like gold mining. You're going out there, you're chipping away, you're doing the same thing, but you know that if you keep following this rigid practice, you will get answers. And we're getting data. We're getting data that a lot of people just don't get, and it's because we're hardcore pursuing out all the time. This isn't just a hobby to us. This is our passion. This is what we do. Our hearts are in this. Since my sighting, I moved out here to Washington State from the state of Michigan for being able to research in this area. I crossed the country for this area because there are more Sasquatches here, according to the data. We eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. There's nothing else that's of more precedent other than, our relationships with our family. Yeah, merch. We're working on that. I've actually been doing some graphic modeling with our Sasquatch on our channel, the one that's on all of our videos and all of our little thumbnails. That guy's name is Doug, so he's Doug the Sasquatch, and we want to be able to put that on a hoodie. People really like him. He's very emblematic of what a Sasquatch looks like. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Steve Isdall's stuff. I've watched his material. A lot of the stuff he submitted, that people have submitted to him, is a lot of fabrication, hoax, or of no clear background. It's not measurable. We can't go to the site and measure what it is. I think Steve is just generally reporting. I think he's a real believer. I think he's kind of getting taken in with how many people are submitting him stuff. He doesn't have time to vet all this stuff, so he just shares it publicly. So I just leave that where it's at. Thank you, Sean Squatch. We're hoping so too. We're gonna probably close down the live stream here in about 4 or 5 minutes. Thank you guys all for being here. It means a lot. All the donations you guys made is just, it's blowing me away. Like, it really does help with the equipment, and when tents get burned and equipment just breaks down, recorders die. And we're trying to upgrade the experience of our channel. Like, when we're able to video, we're getting better video, more night vision, more night walks, more capability to share what we're seeing and hearing with better microphones. We're working on all this, so the stuff like that really helps. Thank you, Mark McClure. I appreciate that. Rest well. I'm not dismissing witness testimony. Witness testimony is important, but witness testimony, out of all the types of evidence, is the most malleable. And there is like I said, it's not that there's any disparity, that there's such a massive disparity between the testimony, right? Because human perception is malleable. You get under stress, you can hallucinate. You can see things that aren't there. You can make a situation into something spiritual. That's why when something is experiential, some people have like a crazy sunset or an epic hunt, and it's almost like a spiritual experience. It has almost manifest capabilities and registration in their mind. The human brain is a very, very plastic thing for high stress situations. Some people can block out a memory entirely, and other people can register it like it's a 4K video saved on a DVR. And other people have experiences that they cannot measure, and they see things that aren't there in the experience. That is just an objective thing. We know this about human beings. So outside of empirical, measurable data, we cannot lean in that direction of just trusting the people's statements. I'm not willing to disregard it, but and like I said, if there's evidence, I'm willing to look at it. If there's not evidence, there's nothing I can do with that. Yes, we are working on it, Sasquatch Wizard. We're trying to find the best OEM cores to use in our system to make them maximally power efficient. I've recently upgraded the system to get over 30 days runtime. I'm trying to get 36 days runtime. That would give you well over a month before you have to handle the camera. So I'm trying to perfect the system so we can sell it and it actually perform really well. Because 2 weeks, running the system every 2 weeks is difficult. So yes, we're working on it. Any major dude, we really are. Correct. Eyewitnesses are good to show where to look and how to look at evidence. Absolutely. And some witnesses have provided really good evidence. Tracks, scat, vocalization recordings, nests, and that's where we're starting. Possibly next week. It depends. I'm trying to work out what my schedule is for a live stream. We'll see. Like I said, I've heard the claims about the eye changing color. I've heard the claims about the cloak, and I don't see the evidence for it, but it's interesting. So keep logging those encounters and stories, but we need some kind of evidence that this is actually happening if we're to take it seriously. So please, when you see this happening, use a thermal imager and have a daylight camera and try to contrast the two. Capture some kind of proof that the thing is there, but obscured. They say that there's a predator-like distortion to it. So Try to capture that distortion. Well, you've been in it since 1967, Richard. Um, I'd love to see what evidence you have in that time, like really solid evidence. I'd love to take a look at it. First owl of the night. Thanks, Todd Mitchell. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do a couple wood knocks. I said I would. I'll do those real quick here. Yeah, no, Ketchum's study, I'll just put that out there real quick. Ketchum's study was massively flawed. They've done a complete breakdown on the mitochondrial DNA and the whole Eve versus father system. She botched the study. I've read it myself, and there's a couple of very well done breakdowns on how that happened and what she did wrong. So I would encourage anyone who makes that claim to read the rebuttal to that genetics paper put out by De Novo. So, yeah. Perked up, and I'm going to do those wood knots real quick here. There we go. That should ramp it up a little bit. There we go. All right, I'm going to do some wood knocks. I think I'm going to do 3. Trying to find the right spot. And now we listen. All right, let me get over here. Well, yeah, rock throwing, I could totally buy that. They definitely do that. They've been seen doing it. People have found tracks immediately following a rock throwing from a location. They went up to where the rocks came from. They'd see where they were in the ground, and then there were tracks. So that's the kind of evidence basis in which I'm talking about. That kind of leads you to something more solid. Do a wood knock with the flaming log. I can't do that, unfortunately. Thank you, S Dual 60. I will be safe. Oh, it can be as loud as a gunshot. Absolutely, Steve Cole. Absolutely. I have recordings, and Chris does too, of them being that loud. Oh yeah, I've experienced. We have a video if you want to check it out. SMG 2040 in our shorts where we get power knocks as loud as gunshots. And we have another video called Caught Between Two Sasquatches. That video chronicles and shares that recording. It's me, Chris, and Rebecca. It's in that video, and it's also in the short on our shorts section. me see here. Yeah, I've thrown rocks back. I've done that. It usually shuts stuff down, but I have done it. Thanks, Cody. Appreciate that. I know no other way. Oh, yeah. Steve is SMG 240. Okay, yeah. I've seen dents on trees where knocks were done, and I've had a Sasquatch vocalize and whoop at me down in the timber. I found tracks the next day and the dents on the tree, and it also did power knock. So it did whoops, stomped the brush, left 3 or 4 prints, and then did the knock. So that was enough for me after time. Direct line of evidence. It didn't do it with rocks, it did knocks with a big log, much like these ones I have here. Yeah, just be like, this is my flaming knocker. Well, that's the other thing, they just go right out. I need like a torch knock. A knocking torch. Hello, Bruce Beaver. Welcome. We're just out here in the Cascades Bigfooting. I was supposed to shut this thing down, but so many of you guys are hanging in here. I feel bad. I don't want to like shut it down early. Just out here doing research here in the Cascade Mountains and doing a live stream. I'm out here solo, and I got to eat something here soon. Wind's picking up a little bit. Haven't heard much. Just one owl and a lot of rodents. Yeah, about the Patty thing and the new documentary, Capturing Bigfoot, which is yet to stream. Our position is media edits and selectively picks things they like and tells a story, and that story many times isn't accurate. I think after the past 5 years, everything we've been through with the world shutdowns and all the narratives and stuff, I think we can all agree that not every story and thing we're told by people that wear suits and collars is accurate. There's always money tied to it and some intention. And so our position is wait, let it all shake out. And I will just say my gut feeling is it's not going to amount to much. We knew that Roger and Bob had a suit that was used for recreations of sightings because they were putting together a documentary over time of their research and their pursuit and talking with witnesses. So they had a suit. And then they were also, I guess someone said that there was talk about trying to recreate the Patty suit to show how ridiculous it would be to hoax it, how difficult it would be. Also, the stamp of the reel was 1966. That's when it was manufactured stock. We don't yet know when the film was shot or developed. So, just our position is do a lot. We've waited since 1967. We can wait a little bit longer and sort out the truth by examining both sides with heavy scrutiny. Still wish this fire would burn a little more aggressively. Try to get it raging here. Just not agreeing here with me. There we go. I'm gonna hold off on the whoops just because I don't want to do too much Sasquatch stuff. We really like them to be comfortable in where they are, and the more we use those kind of tactics, stuff that obviously gives it away, the more they can adapt to it and learn to go quiet. So I kind of want to avoid that in this area. We've seen it time and time again. We go to an area, we aggressively use calls and knocks, and then they stop responding, and then we don't even record them doing that stuff anymore. They switch it up. So correct, Sasquatch Wizard. Also, I've had a broad daylight sighting and a nighttime sighting. No footage being proven false would change my perspective on any of it. So how long have we been doing this? It feels like it's getting late. I'm getting really tired. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here in a couple minutes. If you guys have any more questions or comments, let me know. I'll cruise through them real quick, but I do need to be closing this down. I need to be thinking about getting my bed together and get some food in me and try to get some sleep. I'm also a little dehydrated. I haven't drank enough water today for all the hiking I've done. And I got to be out of here first thing in the morning because it's supposed to swing at 7 a.m. And I want my camp packed up before all that happens. Oh my goodness, jeez. Yeah. 2.5 hours. Well, thanks guys for hanging with me. And all you guys have been awesome with all the donations and just hanging out with me. It's making time go. And it's a big deal. Thank you guys. I love dogs, but dogs are security systems, and they're also extra maintenance. I love dogs, though. But Sasquatches don't seem to like dogs very much. So, I love to play with dogs. And I have 2 cats, which I can leave at home, luckily. $2 a.m. in New York, that's nuts. Thanks, Cody. We're doing the best we can. Alright. Alright, everybody. Well, thanks for joining me on another solo camp trip out here in the Cascades. In the future, like I said, I plan on doing more of this kind of thing and hopefully have a better backdrop. I'm kind of just out in the open here, but in the timber. I've got some areas in the future I'm hoping to get up real high in this summer. Hopefully have a good signal and we can be able to show you guys beautiful sunsets and backdrop and stuff too. And have it'll make it look more appealing and sound better. And also, it's just me talking this long is a bit much. Need some Kirk and Chris and Rebecca to break it up. But thanks, guys. You guys have a great rest of your night. Hopefully you all make time to get out at your own fires. And yeah. Thank you guys. Appreciate all the support. All right. Thanks for joining us here at Study Sasquatch. Have a good night.